Monday press conference. Coach will make an opening statement, and then we will go right into questions. Coach?
Hey guys, obviously, everybody disappointed with the outcome from the ball game the other night. I talked to the guys today. I really did feel like it was our best week of preparation. Practice was really good. I thought we finished it the right way. Just showed them the middle part of the ball game and some things that that we got to do better, coaches and players, to make that different game in the fourth quarter. Disappointed in that, but it's an opportunity for us this week. Good South Alabama football team that we got to get prepared for. We got to continue to get better and continue to fight and compete. And believe our team will do that. I love going to battle with these guys every single week, and you guys have heard me say that. Looking forward to the next opportunity here this Saturday.
Questions? We'll start with Austin. We'll get a mic to you.
With Beasley kind of having that ankle or whatever the other night, what linebackers are most likely to step up and potentially that next wave of guys?
Yeah, we'll see. His availability here as the week unfolds. You saw Solo play more action. A couple of our young guys, Humphrey and Willis, are a couple guys that will continue to compete and possibly take more reps.
Adam?
Is there any update on any conversations you've had with Hendon about whether or not he will return next year? And if not, when do you think those will happen?
They'll happen as we finish the season.
With the early signing period, the portal gets active in December. Do you think there's more urgency these days to have those conversations just for roster planning?
Yeah, I think it's important that you finish the season the right way and the kids make an educated decision. I've said it before, I think publicly with you guys. We want our guys to have an opportunity at the next level. You want them to have a full career. You want them to make the right decision at the right time for them. And so you get feedback from different people and present the information and help them make an educated decision.
Coach, Jeremy Banks had his fourth straight game with over 10 tackles. How instrumental has he been in holding down that linebacker core with players like Juwan Mitchell and then others being out?
Yeah, with some of the guys that have gotten nicked up throughout the course of the season, his consistency of being available, his toughness, and then his continued growth at that position, understanding of how to play the position, he's continued to grow that way and been a big part of what we've done defensively.
Vince?
Cedric, you talked about his development, 200 yards obviously in the game. What are the specific things that you've seen the most growth in him that's allowed him to take advantage and have that success?
To me, it really just dates back to when I first got here. And that's a guy that's been extremely focused on continuing to change his body, gain strength, development inside the strength and conditioning area. A guy that has probably spent as much or more time understanding what we're doing, right? And I'm just talking about offensively and really being diligent and watching film, right? Then you get into spring ball, his first 5 practices, consistent in his work ethic, but you saw growth from first 5 to second 5 to third 5. In that, he's gained a ton of confidence and belief that he can be a really good wide receiver at this level. Then you've seen him progress throughout the season because of his work habits have consistently continued to grow and I say this to our football team a lot. The guys that put the most into it are the guys that get the most out of it. It doesn't always happen immediately when you want it, but man, it rings true over time. And I think his work and toughness and who he is has shown up in his season this fall.
In the grand scheme of first-year program, what does a bowl eligibility mean in your blueprint?
Well, it's big because it shows progress in year one, just over the course of the season, but then the practices on the back end of it, instrumental in continuing to develop your young guys. You get another few weeks with them, strength and conditioning in the weight room too. All those things are huge, and as you push your program forward. The big thing for us is just focusing on this week, though. I think that's really important, and Our football team understands, right? When you play really good opponents like we did last Saturday against Georgia, they're gonna make some plays, right? And we're gonna compete and make plays too. Controlling what we can control and being in the right spot at the right time are the things that we got to continue to get better at to be the absolute best that we can. It's in some ways, not really in some ways, you're in a race against yourself. And our kids are taking great pride. They care. They were hurt by the end result of last Saturday, but should we go out on the grass today and they're ready to compete and work and get better.
Ben and Rob?
Josh, do you expect Javonte Payton to be available this week, and what'd you see from Ramel and stepping up for him on Saturday?
Yeah, I thought Ramel did some really positive things. Without the ball in his hands, I thought he did a good job on the perimeter blocking, in particular for some of our perimeter screens. Did a good job when the ball was in his hands too. He's got a tall screen, does a nice job on, makes a play on a nice shallow and catch and run after it. There's some things that he'll learn from and get better at, in particular against press coverage. But I thought he stepped in and did a lot of really good things.
And Javonte?
Yeah, we'll see as the week unfolds here.
Coach, just professionally, you play Alabama and Georgia every year. They're permanent opponents. What's it like just to get up every day and to win your division? You're basically going to have to be a national champion. What is that challenge like when you wake up and those are the people you're competing against? Not just on the field, but in recruiting 365.
Yeah, that's why you want to be here. You want a chance to have the ability to compete against the best and then go beat them. Certainly, that's the bar in this conference, and for us with our schedule, it's a challenge that our kids wake up to, and I do every day. We go compete and keep pushing forward, and we're in a race to get there as fast as we possibly can, but we will.
Coach, kind of following up what you said about Tillman, but just now and after the game, you talked about how consistent he is in his approach. How do you get more players to kind of have that same mindset and follow that program? Do you kind of have to recruit those kind of guys? Is it player leadership? How do you get more of those guys to kind of follow what he's been doing?
It's everything. It's setting standards inside your program, them meeting it. It's got to be player driven from within the locker room too, and that happens by position sometimes, and sometimes it's just great leaders on any side of the football. You want to continue to recruit guys that have that type of mentality, but you got to develop it inside of your program too. And you push forward every single day, and everybody gains those inches. That adds up to the differences that you need to make. In the football game the other night, there's little things that we can do, coaches and players alike, to change the way that game's played into the fourth quarter. It's a really good football team, one that, in all likelihood, will be in the college playoffs. So we'll just keep grinding it out.
Vince, then Austin.
Josh, in points scored for your team, your best quarter is the first quarter, second quarter is the worst, and it's pretty even in points scored and allowed in the third and fourth quarter. I'm sure there's always a lot of different reasons in each game, but is there an overriding theory as to maybe why that might be happening?
I have the ability to just continue to be dialed in the second quarter. You experience success, not taking anything for granted, doing the ordinary things at a really high level. When we do those, we move the football, right? When we don't, then you struggle. You look at the pass protection the other night in the second quarter, some things that we struggled with. Hendon's a little bit off, and all of a sudden, you're going 3 and out or turn the ball over at midfield, and it changes the way the game's played. Just got to do those things at a really high level. When we did, we had success.
And the so-called 50-50 balls for a quarterback to receivers, how do you teach that in knowing when to give the receivers a chance, just throw it up, even if it's underthrown a little bit, so the receiver can adjust? How do you teach that aspect of it?
Yeah, I don't think we've had any turnovers on the 50-50 ball. I'm not sure that's what your question was, but
No, it's
I
just
think
more
that's
like
what
when to throw in just to give the receiver a chance versus, trying to be too perfect in some of those throws.
too perfect on which throws.
Well, and when to make those decisions, when to just throw it up and let the receiver go get it. For your quarterback, how do you teach the decision making?
Yeah, typically we're either winning or we're not. If we're not, then we end up dropping it down.
You referenced earlier, just sometimes it takes a while for a player to get there. You look at Theo, Cedric Tillman, Jerome Carvin, those are all guys that maybe didn't play a ton as freshmen or sophomores, but are now having a lot of success for you guys. as a coach, do you have those top players talk to some of these younger players that aren't playing? Because I think it is a shock value when you go from high school being the guy to, you know, potentially having a red shirt or not playing as much as a freshman as you'd like.
Yeah, I think it's important that your players understand growth. I think it's important that your coaches talk to young guys that, you know, come in and maybe on a practice squad and not experiencing a ton of playing time early in their career. You have the players that are older too, try to help carry that message to young guys. Sometimes it happens super early for guys that step into your program, sometimes it doesn't. There's gonna be adversity in this game. It's gonna happen during the course of your career at some point in some time. You gotta continue to fight, but the development of your players is a huge part of the development of your program too. And you know, I think kids gotta understand that you gotta continue to invest, and the more you put into it, the more you're gonna get out of it.
Garrett?
South Alabama on the schedule next. How do you keep your team's mindset the same this week as if it was any other SEC opponent? And in saying that, what are some of the things that they do well offensively and defensively?
You know, for us, we talk about us every week, and that's true this week, right? Control the controllables, control your preparation, be really consistent in who you are, no matter what the stadium looks or sounds like, you know, how juicy it is in there. Our competitive nature has to be the same and really consistent. I think that's one of the ways that as a football team we've continued to grow is in our preparation. You guys heard me talk about a lot about that early in the year, that I wasn't happy with where we were at. I do know that we have grown in that. You know, this Saturday, next opponent, it's the only one that we get to play this week. We need to be ready to go play.
Yeah, Coach, talking about Byron Young, he has third sack in 2 weeks against Georgia. How have you seen his growth since his debut against Tech?
Yeah, you know, I thought on Saturday he played with relentless energy. Some of those sacks were because of great coverage on the back end, where we're matching things out. Quarterback's got nowhere to go. He's able to counter his initial move and then go apply pressure to the quarterback. Huge play early in the second half. I think first drive on third down, he's able to make a play. He's there to make a play. The horse collar, obviously, but just great energy from him all night long.
Joe led a touchdown drive the other day through some good balls at the end of that game. I'm sure you've seen progress from him in practice. How much more are you convinced that he's making progress when you see it in a game?
I think game action always, you know, your success in that is a result of your preparation and your practice habits. He's continued to grow in a lot of those ways. He needs to continue to you know, push and compete in those areas for him to be his best. It was good to see him have success over there.
Ben?
I guess as a follow-up to that, just how far has Joe grown from start of fall camp to now?
He's continued to grow just in, you know, understanding of what we're doing and ability to call it, see it, recognize it, and throw it. You know, last Saturday, did some really positive things.
Any other questions for Coach? All right.
Guys,
Thank you.
appreciate it.